House Chair, the census of 2022 was met with massive challenges, both avoidable and unavoidable. The global pandemic was one such unforeseen obstacle. However, the consistent and one may argue deliberate underfunding of Statistics South Africa is something we have been lamenting in this House for many years. A census is a critical tool for government to take stock and to foreground government planning in the ever-evolving population. That is why the integrity of the data must be beyond reproach. If a government is to be responsive to the growing needs of its population, then great investments must go into ensuring that the entity is tasked with that responsibility is well-funded and capacitated. Now, delving deeper into the findings of the census and really studying the numbers, we saw that it shows South Africa is a great country with great potential, but led down by a bad government. No one who is truly invested in the future of this country can look at these figures and arrive at the conclusion that the government of the day that has enjoyed 29 years of uninterrupted governance has served our people well. In fact, the opposite is true. The gains we have made have been in spite of the ANC and not because of it. And while our population has increased by 10.3 million people, our economy has not grown since the previous census to meet its needs. This has to be the biggest indictment on the ANC government. A quality education, an opportunity to find meaningful work, and access to basic services is the surest way to ensure that South Africans live a life of dignity. Under this government, they do not. And no fudging of the numbers will convince anyone of otherwise. They do not need to be sold a well-painted picture, Minister. They experience the poverty and joblessness every single day. Now, let's look at the numbers. Youth unemployment. South Africa continues to have a young population of a medium age of 28 years old. But this government has failed young people the most, with 6 out of 10 young people without work. I often wonder if Lama Qabane of the oldest liberation movement on the continent even understand the indignity of ukungaphangeli komntu omtsha. Abantu abatsha bayangunga imihla nezolo kumakhaya wabo bephelelwe lithemba lokuba bangaze bawufumane na umsebenzi, but batsho ke bona ke bathi bangawo Maqabane, we're the oldest liberation movement on the continent, but benza ntoni with that accolade? While the number of learners in schools have increased to 73.4, a commendable feat, Minister, it is completely undermined by the fact that over 80% of learners in grade 4 cannot read for meaning. Just the other day, the Basic Education Deputy Minister, Regina Mahaule, justified or tried to justify in this House that the reason why we are performing so poorly is because we are measuring ourselves against developed countries. What a devastating admission that this government does not believe that our children or the children in this country are deserving of the best education the world has to offer. The ANC is only content with shackling an entire group of children to an education that will never allow them any jobs in the market one day. This is another generation of poor Black children who have to accept the scraps that this government is prepared to offer them. According to the census, 94% of South Africans have access to electricity. But once again, Minister, this is undermined, and it is the cruelest form of punishment because people may have access to the electricity, but they never have electricity at all. The corruption by this organization has meant that Eskom cannot deliver electricity as people need. In fact, this year, as of August, South Africans have sat in the dark for 1,300 hours, which is almost 2 months collectively. And this is not just about being able to switch the lights on and off. This is a crisis that has destroyed small businesses, that has plunged most South Africans deeper into poverty, and once again has made people join the unemployment queues. This inconvenience, this is not just an inconvenience, but it is a matter of life and death for many people. The ANC will also tell us about how much pipe water they've provided. According to the census, the percentage of households with access to pipe water have halved, which is again commendable, but again, a cruel, cruel, cruel indictment when people have access to pipe water, but the pipe water is dirty, the pipe water is undrinkable, or in some instances in the province where I come from, people share drinking water with animals. Instead of committing to building bulk water infrastructure that will be suitable and sustainable for years to come, amakhom akisana imali, like we saw in the Giyani water project, njengomzekelo. That project went into the millions because of greed, because of selfishness, and because of a criminal disregard for the community who have looked to this government for assistance. 94. Now, I want to turn my attention to the people who matter the most, the South Africans at home. I want to say that not all hope is lost. South Africa is a great country with great potential that is let down by a bad government. And that is why the Western Cape has leading in all of these indicators. It is not by accident. It is not by accident. It is because of a government that is committed to serving instead of stealing. It is because of a government that is committed to serving instead of stealing. The Western Cape has the lowest unemployment rate in South Africa. These are not just figures. These are brothers and sisters and mothers who are able to provide for their family. Over and above this, we have invested 1.2 billion rand in the basic education of young children, because we do not want to see another generation of young Black children who are shackled in poverty like this government is only too happy to have. I want to say, South Africa, help is on the way.
Thank you
Change
very
your
much.
vote,
Your time
change
is
your
up.
government, and change your lives.